So I'll just do a quick little introduction about you and your group, and then you can pick it from there.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, everyone. So welcome to the Science Cafe session for June 2020. We're hosting this from the Faculty of Medicine, and we're really excited about the topic that we're going to be presented and discussed today, which is about using augmented reality for teaching purposes. So actually we have a 4-in-1 session today. There are actually going to be 4 speakers, so led by Dr. Amirrudin Kamsin, and he's actually the acting director at the University of Malaya Center for Continuing Education. He's also a senior lecturer at the Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology here in UM. He received his BIT Management and Masters in Computer Animation from UM and also from Bournemouth University. And then he went on to get his doctoral degree in computer science from University College London in the UK. So his research interests include human-computer interaction, authentication systems, e-learning, mobile applications, serious games, augmented reality, and mobile health services. So you can see really, a vast array of research interests and skills. So he is joined by 3 of his final year students, and they are Dr. Daniel Haikal, Mr. Kesavan, and also Mr. Anwar Shafiq. And they are all doing projects, final year projects related to AR Faculty of Computer Science and IT here in UM. So without further ado, I think everyone's really excited to hear from you. So I'll hand over to you, Dr. Amir. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, thank you very much, Dr. Azina, and all your colleagues for inviting us to present about AR for educational purposes. So basically, today what I'm going to do is we would like to share some sort of overview of AR, in particular in education, and the other 3 students will be focusing on their respective projects. So I will pass to them after I finish my part. So and also thank you very much for all the participants who are coming joining this session. We're grateful to have you here, and yeah, sure. So Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. So a bit of AR for education purpose. This is part of my research interest. Although I didn't do AR for my PhD, it just started when I came back from my PhD. So I've started to propose some sort of project related to AR, and also I've also proposed some grants proposal which related to AR. So basically today I'm going to give some sort of overview of all those projects or grants that we have currently have, and the project that is still in progress. So as introduced, we are from FXTM, and those are my final year students. Okay. So today, as I mentioned, I'm going to give some sort of overview and also some highlight from the links to show about the key concept of AR, and then also the devices or technologies that have been currently used for AR, and then followed by the projects that we have, and then afterwards I will pass to my student to zoom into their respective project to give some sort of examples of what we are doing now. So I think before I begin, I would like to give a quick video of a sort of introductions about AR. So I will try to take this one.
We're waiting for the video, are we? Hello, Dr. Tame?
Sorry, yeah. Is it appearing?
There's like you know, the loading icon thing.
Is it? Oh.
Do you
It's
see
running
it
on
on?
my...
Do you see it on your side?
Yes.
Azlina,
Yeah.
you have to actually, once you have another window, you have to reshare that window.
Okay.
The speaker have to reshare the new window actually.
Okay. Is the video showing on a different screen, Dr. Tame?
Okay, let me check. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So should I start again?
Yes, I think you need to start again.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Can everyone see? Selvi?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Dr. Tame, is ada sound ke?
Ada sound.
Sound. I think we're having a problem with hearing the sound. Yeah. I can hear a little bit now. Yeah. Can you see if you can increase the... Okay, first thing you gotta plug that. You gotta charge your computer.
Yeah.
I think the sound is still a bit weak.
Whenever a business is looking to establish easier work environments and cheaper facilities than education, but also to most
Dr. Tame,
Say it.
would
Yes.
it, because I think the video is a little bit laggy, would it be possible maybe to share
Link.
the link in the chat
Okay,
box?
okay.
Yeah, and then we can watch it later.
Okay,
And then
okay.
maybe you can just sort of summarize what the video is trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah. I think most people are in this group are fairly familiar with AR. But we can watch the video later, maybe.
Sure, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, now is... Okay, just... Okay, so can you hear me, Doctor?
Yes, quite
Okay, okay.
clearly. Yeah.
So the video is to show you a sort of what AR is, and then also defining what differentiates between AR and VR. So basically, but for today, what we are going to concentrate is on more on AR rather than VR. So and then it gives some sort of a glimpse of AR devices and in future of AR. So I think that's some sort of short summary of that video. So I will share the link with Doctor afterwards. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, okay, okay.
You can put it
So
in the chat box.
yeah, okay, yeah. So basically this I mean I think most of you have experienced this, but I still give some sort of example of a simple example of AR that you can use on your phone. So this one actually can you see the video?
Yes, we can see, Doctor.
Yeah, so this is example of AR where you can search on the Google's the 3D in this case Tiger. So basically, it shows you that these 3D objects which is stored in the database can be extracted in and then superimposed with the environments that the real environment. For in this case, it's like it actually is in my room. So the image tiger. And then another example here is this one. Okay, so just image of a 3D object of a rabbit superimposed on the table on my desk. So the concept of AR, which is to superimpose or overlay the 3D objects or text or video, etc., in your physical real environment. Okay, so so it's an interactive experience of real world environments. As I mentioned, the objects that reside in the real world enhanced by the CGI or computer generated perceptual information or images. So it appears that both the CGI or the digital environments or 2D text or diagram will be superimposed with the real environment in order to give some sort of additional information or even to experience the 3D environments of that particular scenario, object, stuff like that. So a view of the physical real environment is super important. So that changed the perception of reality where you have between the reals and also the ones that are generated by the computer. So in somehow it can stimulate what we call exciting or more engaging environments, especially in regards to learning context. So why is it so interactive and exciting? Because the elements where you combine the real world with the additional 3D objects, audio, video, and you render all those elements at the same time in your real world. So there are many areas that have been using this what we call AR technology. So as mentioned, includes in education, also can help doctors or practitioners to train nurses and stuff like that in order to visualize an object or structures, body and stuff like that. And also it can be used in training, for example, in the mechanical engineering trainings, lab and stuff like that, or in very dangerous environments, stuff like that. And also can be used to develop like a building architecture or even for interior design where you can project the furnitures or even you can choose a particular pattern texture on the floor or something like that. You can use all this element interactively in order to see how the design going to be looks like and stuff like that before you jump into the real design and stuff like that. So with regards to the devices, so these are among the devices or hardwares that can be used in order to experience this AR even better, So as the common one where you can use your phone or your tablet and stuff like that. But if you pay some amount of money, you can, like, for example, to experience in the more comfortable way, for example, using Google Glasses or Google Cardboard and stuff like that, or handheld device, and to the what we call head-mounted display or HMD. So actually, there's also URL there where you can see the trends or the top devices that can be used to experience this. So I think I will share with later with Dr. Zina. So maybe you can have a look into that the video to have some sort of an idea of current devices technology that might be useful in order to experience this what we call AR environments more effective and more engaging. So as I mentioned earlier, the concept is that where there are two concepts where you can use what we call marker. In this case, what we have here is, for example, you have your physical book, for example, and you have a particular image. So if you have your phone or any camera to capture the image of the object, for example, in this case, a mountain, for example. So once it's the image detected, which is used as a marker, then a respective object or 3D object will be superimposed, overlay into that environment. So you have, for example, in that case, you have your tablet or phone, and then at the same time, you have both the images of the 2D images and also the 3D object, which fetch from your database. I think nowadays there are many AR books, for example, like for children, stuff like that, where some part of the books, they have included what we call AR 3D objects in order to give some sort of more exciting parts to your to kids to go through the book. So apart from education, the AR has been used, for example, in education, communication, medicine, and entertainment. So so there are many benefits that are potentials of using AR in education. For example, in terms of the accessibility of the materials, basically you can access to the for example, talking about 3D anatomy, for example. So at any time, anywhere, you can zoom into these particular objects with as long as you got connection to the internet and stuff like that. So basically, there's no such a special equipment that you need unless you want to have a more like immersive sort of experience where you need to wear Google Glasses, for example, or HMD in order to give some sort of idea or to zoom into the objects rather than be distracted by the real environment. The previous study have shown that it gives some sort of better engagement between the learner or the student with the material showcased to them. I mean, the whatever contents displayed to them. And then it also has been shown that it can improve collaboration among the participants or those who are taking part in learning about that, for example, in the context of fixing a mechanical engine or something like that. So people remotely can access to the same, for example, your friends or your colleague from the other part of the station can have a look into what you are looking for. And then at the same time, they can, from the visualized object or the parts or the mechanical engine parts with the other parts. So at the same time, they can at the same time assist the colleagues to fix it and stuff like that. So it is a faster and more effective learning process, and is quite useful in terms of the practical learning. And it's also safe and efficient workplace training because you don't really need to sometimes to get into the real environment. But what you can have simulated environments. Still, you can interact with the materials there safely. And then it's universally applicable to any levels of education and training for any related purposes. So when we talk about AR in classroom, there are many examples that you can have a look nowadays. For example, in this diagram figures to show that, as I mentioned, you have a 3D object, or you can also have like 2D text or something like that to give some sort of annotations to your 3D object in the real world. So for example, on the left side, you have, for example, this anatomy. When this user project the in this case the tablet to that real object, so it's actually it gives you additional information with regard to a particular parts of that object. So this it can be used like AR anatomy annotations. And then at the same time, for example, looking back on the right side also, student can collaboratively enjoy the 3D looks of the humans and then internal organ stuff like that, and then they can pinpoint a part of the object and then can zoom into it and then have a more detailed visualization, 3D visualization of that particular part. So this has been mentioned earlier, so you can use it for example, in case of distance learning, so you can collaboratively remotely work with your colleague with the same materials. So this one is more on like the cases example where the application is what we call here is to show, for example, the consequences of smoking with the use of AR. For example, how many do you smoke a day and how many you have smoked, for example. So with regard to the details or the information, key in by the user, or in this case, sliding data input. So the respective visualization of the 3D lung will be shown. Will be respective lung will be shown to the user based on the inputs given by the users. So it helps the people to see the visual effects more clearly when it comes to the AR explanations. So there has been increasing trend the use of AR, particularly with regards to educations and also information. So I think this is the last data that we refer. So the pattern is very, very encouraging and increasing. So so it shows that the huge potential of AR in wide areas, not just in education, but any sort of trainings, other potential thing that can make use of AR in future. So in future, what we're gonna look into is like a few trends, like for example, mobile AR. Okay, so you can show that AR can be used for example, for shopping, or even for indoor navigations. And then nowadays we have more on the artificial intelligence, machine learning, stuff like that. So with the combinations of the artificial intelligence, machine learning, stuff like that, together with augmented reality, can have more effective presentation of visualizations of simulations that we can have. So there's also web AR. So I think nowadays there also trend of using web AR that you can also have a look. And then AR in automotive industry, and then also AR in business and stuff like that. So with regards to our projects, so basically we have a couple of projects that we have so far still doing it. I mean, one is what we call AR National Museum. So in this AR National Museum, what we have done so far is like, for example, in museum, there are many sensitive artifacts that, visitor cannot touch and stuff like that. Or even when we talk about, let's say, people from overseas who like to to have a look or experience the artifacts available in National Museum, so they can just have this app, or they can go there to see or to zoom into a particular historical artifact that cannot be touched, but they can zoom into that particular aspect more specifically and then visualize it. So in this example, what we have, for example, in National Museum, there are many galleries. For example, in the ground floor, they have four galleries. So A, B, C, and D. So each gallery has its own team and stuff like that. So in our project, what we are planning to do is like when a particular user go to a particular artifact or section, when they project their devices, for example, smartphone onto the panel or onto the object. So the application will give additional information about the objects, or at the same time can have what we call narrators that can explain about that object, what it is, and then some sort of input with regards to that object. And then another feature is also what we call, this is not AR, but is what we have here is indoor navigation. So whenever the user reach the visitor it at a particular location and stuff like that, so the navigation we have to guide the users where they are, for example, and if they would like to go to particular station, how they should navigate the floor mat and stuff like that. So you have a gallery map. So this is the one that I mentioned is like avatar or for narrator. It's like to give some sort of idea about explanations to that artifacts while they are going through or visiting, walking through all different artifacts available in that museum. So with regards to the impact, so basically we can see there's good impacts. I mean, improving in terms of the cognitive and behaviors, and also in terms of the empathy experience, using while experiencing what we call these AR applications. So as I mentioned earlier, sometimes when we enter a certain museum, they provide us with some sort of catalog. So with this catalog, which can be used as a marker, so this catalog can help the visitor to pick a particular sections that they want to, even though they don't go into the museum. With the catalog, they can project their the smartphone, and then they can pick, or they can view it on their own while they are outside or at home and stuff like that. This one is another example of project that we have also what we call interactive books. So it's more for children to teach about the animals, their behavior, their environment and stuff like that, with the use of AR 3D object, which in this case a tiger. And then this book also supplemented with what we call like sing-a-song, stuff like that, some quizzes to make them more participate, to allow the children while going through this 3D environment, they can also participate or into the quiz and stuff like that. Okay. So the next one is what we call AR Royal Museum. So similar in what we call National Museum. So most of the artifacts or things shown in the museum, you should be some sort of distance between you and also the artifact. For example, in this case, the king throne. So so from the distance, actually, when for example, we use this as like a catalog. So when the user projects their smartphone to this catalog, so this throne, actually the 3D object of the throne will be shown to the visitor, so they can have some sort of zoom into the throne and then see how the design looks like and stuff like that. So it's like it's sort of like gives some sort of more chance for them to see, to have a closer look into that particular artifact, or in this case, the throne. So this is still ongoing. So what we call to develop AR to educate school students not to start smoking. So this is quite at early stage, which in collaboration with education faculties and also dental faculties to work on the apps, and also the element of serious game that we hope that by using these educational materials can improve students, to motivate them not to smoking at the early stage. So this is quite early stage. As I mentioned earlier, so we have today we're going to share two projects being done by my students. So the first project is the Science for Reals by Mr. Daniel and Kesavan. And then the second one is the AR app for health education, heart diseases by Mr. Anwar. So I will pass the next presentation to Daniel and Kesavan to continue, and after that we end with the presentation by Mr. Anwar. Okay, thank you. Pass to you.
Hi, can you see the slides?
Yes, thank you.
Uh, Hello?
Hi, hi. So
Okay.
maybe whoever's presenting, maybe you can just turn on your video if you don't mind, so we can see what you look like.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Hi, Kesavan.
Hi. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Can you
Okay, go
see?
ahead. Yeah.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Daniel, and I'm doing this project with K7. Our project name is uh, AR application for standard 1 science subject. So the next is the problem. So the problem, we before we start our project, we do some research on the current problem with the current education system. So the first thing that, based on our research, the first thing that we get is the lack of motivation or interest in study. So students are bored with the current education materials due to lack of certain elements, and this tends to cause them less motivated to study. And most of the materials are filled with stationary elements like text and colorless images. So the student will bored and then tend to sleep in class. Sanson mentioned that traditional teaching often seems boring to students, and it does not encourage collaboration between teachers and students. And the second problem is high cost of study materials. Educational institutions spend millions producing and repairing the education materials like paper, textbook, physical models, posters, and this will very costly and uh, feel, and give a burden to the students. Some students have to pay extra resources to understand the concept of the subject they are trying to study. This was highlighted by Mahia Bebi, where the current education spending just very high cost to set up the materials in school. And the third the third problem with current education system is to visualize the concept. So teachers find hard to practically translate theoretical material into understandable concept. So, for example, like the teacher want to explain some of the concept to the student, they are very hard to explain because sometimes the student cannot understand the concept of the theory. So, those materials, um, those materials make students harder to grasp the abstract and difficult content due to lack of visualization, especially for visual learner like me. Okay, next. So based on the problem that we get, so we are trying to give a better solution for the education system. So our solution is by using AR. So the first thing is, by using AR, we are able to give a high engagement and interest uh, towards the student. Interactive, gamified AR can significantly give a positive impact to the education and also the students, because teachers and students able to interact with the uh, 3D models, so this will give full engagement throughout the study session. Anderson, Leocarpis, and Mustaha show the most important features and advantages of AR technique, because it enables teachers and also the learners to interact easily with it. And the second solution by using AR is a faster and more effective learning process. So by using AR, basically we are interacting with the 3D model. So the students and also the teacher are able to interact with 3D models. So this significantly can improve the visualization of the students. So they can easily understand the concept. Those addition help the learner to grasp the academic materials of the content easily and clearly by Kamsin. And the third thing of the third solution by using AR is cost effective. So by making and maintaining the group study material are more cost effective by using AR instead of physical material, because by using AR it offers a portable learning materials which you can bring it everywhere you want, and the cost is appropriate because by using one model by one student, it can be used again and again by over many generations. This is highlighted by Anderson, Leocapis, and Ahmad and also Motaha. As a result, this can make the study material more mobile and also very low cost. So we are targeting science. So why we are choosing science is based on this article, New Straits Time. This is on 5 February 2020. So this article mentioned that we are taking example in Malaysia. So in Malaysia, we consider that science is the most important subject because as we see in primary school, we are starting to learn science since standard one. So and although for example, like student for our student, if they are not pursuing something that are not science related in their degree or something like that, they still need to learn science in their standard one. So basically, science is the core foundation of the education system in Malaysia. And also, education must also make students aware of how natural science knowledge is built and how it affects the world by Swenson Hakon. Meanwhile, many STEM education areas emphasize on situated learning. By using AR, this can increase the student focus and engagement in class, and also the students are able to construct new meaningful situational experience with AR because they are interacting with the 3D models. For a generation of learners, technologically fluent than ever, AR app offer a very efficient method to deliver the bite-sized learning content said by Dr. Sen in this article. Next is, so the main objective of our project is we want to propose an AR app for an effective learning process and higher standard one and higher standard one's engagement towards science subject. So we are targeting the standard one students towards the science subject. So the subjective is divided into two, which is for 7 and also me. For 7, he is more on the UI UX and also the 3D models and also the front end. And for me, I will do the AR by using the plugin, which is Vuforia, and also I'm the person which is more on the back end. We connect the 3D models that created by K7 and put them in the app. So the next is our target user. So as I mentioned earlier that our target user is for standard one students. So we are targeting the standard one student. So basically, if we are targeting standard one students, we also need to involve the parents and also the teachers of the particular standard one students. So why we are choosing standard one students is because it provides a great exposure and interest to newly students. As I said about the article just now, science subject is the core education system that are needed for the primary school. So if we provide AR with if we provide AR into science subject, to these standard one students, so it surely can get a very great exposure and interest to the newly students towards science subject. But however, since the students are not allowed to bring phone to school, so parents play an important role to give their student exposure to play with the AR textbook. So the stakeholder, so our stakeholder will be Nasuha Barudin. So she is from DG. Basically, she's a UI UX specialist in DG because actually this is my supervisor during my internship. So we are taking her to be our stakeholder. Next, methodology okay. For methodology, I separated into two phases. So this one is the phase one, which is survey, data collection, wireframing, prototyping, also designing. So for the survey, we are collecting opinion from our target audience, which is the standard one cluster, and we collect this data by using we collect the survey by using Google Form. So as we collected the data, and also we do some literature review, so we can extract the data so that we can know the features and the problem and solution to create the app. And then when we already collect the data and also we know the features requirement, so we proceed with the wireframing. So we need in this wireframing, we want to create a very smooth user flow. After the wireframing, we are able to do the prototyping, which is high fidelity. If we already finalize on the user flow, which is from the user start into the user end journey. So by prototyping, we are able to create a very high fidelity design to it. And also designing, we have the prototype to have a very stunning visual. So on the next phase is front end, back end, 3D models, and also user testing. So front end, which is we are using Unity engine, game engine. And so basically, we have the prototype ready, right? So we extract the information from the prototype and make it into the front end. And for the back end, we are using Vuforia. So basically, Vuforia is a plugin. So we store the marker and also the database in Vuforia, and we import Vuforia into Unity so it can connect between the 3D models and also the front end. And the last thing is user testing. After we completed our app, we will evaluate our app by using user testing. Next.
So our research, we did some literature review to support our project. So this literature review did to grab some aspect to improvise our application. So those literature we found that AI system increase the motivation and attention, concentration, and satisfaction of the learner. And so this is another application that created by Van his finding told that students was more engaged when AI application is implemented during their studies. Okay, next, and augmented reality application that invented, launched by Yahoo. His findings tell that AI is helpful for students to understand structural behavior and build connection between physical building and graphic representation. And his finding also show that students show a good acceptance of AI presence in their classroom. And then another one by Guti, the app help in increasing the participant knowledge base and making the learning more easier. Okay, then this AI app also will help them to understand better, increase their scoring patterns. And his finding also, Gupta's finding told us that the AI app will do more effective learning. So these are the comparison we did during our literature review, we compare the application that built for research purposes and the application present for commercial usage. And we compare them between their strength, weakness, and futures. So we grab some of the points to improvise our application. So now use case of our application. Okay, these are the use case for our AR application. These are the action buttons that are present in our application. Since our standard one science using Bahasa Malaysia as a official language, so we are build this application in Bahasa Malaysia. So we can clearly see the use case prototype. So this is our prototype UI UX design for our app. Our theme is clean and energetic. These colors will have both energy and peace at the same time. So to create a positive emotion, we choose these colors. Okay, this is the start of home screen of our app. So as we follow the use case, there will be a Muller button. When we press, it will navigate to the module list. These module lists are grabbed from their textbook, and there, for each module, there will be two sections, pengenalan, where they will be interact with AR and notes, and then second one is a ulang kaji, where they will revise their each module by attempting quiz. These are interactive, and these also AR interactive. And then for the AI section, so there will be a button for Fakta Munari where they can identify some interesting facts related to the module that they chosen. So next, the quiz section. Okay, for each module, there will be a quiz section. So if the user answer the question right, there will be a pop-up. Tanya will be pop-up. We plan to create this UI as a 3D model that look like more interesting. So whenever the user put the wrong answers, they will be given another chance to reattempt the quiz. So after they finish the quiz, they will navigate to the module list again. So for technical implementation for UI UXD, we use the Adobe XD. It's a free source that available to create a UI UX design. Then Adobe Photoshop. We use Adobe Photoshop to create a 2D and 3D elements in our app. And then flowchart, and then use case diagram. One of the objective is creating application in low cost. So we prioritize for application that exists for free usage. So for front end, we use a Unity game engine, and then Euphoria and Android Studio to build and run the Android SDK. For database, we use the local storage, and then we code. And then we use a C# code. For 3D models, we use the Blender, it's also free source. And then ZBrush, Adobe Photoshop, and Misamo. So for development progress, Daniel will continue with the development progress.
Okay, so
Sorry, Daniel. Sorry, Daniel. Just before you start, can I just ask, because I'm just a little bit concerned with the time.
Okay.
So maybe if there's certain things you can skip, then maybe you can, so that Anwar also has some time to present his project. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So I will be showing the demo of our app. Can you see my screen? So
yes.
Okay, so this is the app that we already created. So basically, this is only for the phase 1. So as you can see on my screen, we have the button Muller. So when we click on button Muller, we have the list of the syllabus. This is from unit 1 to unit 9. So we will be having each unit we will be having pengenalan and also ulang kaji as K7 mentioned earlier. So when we click on display, we will direct it to the AR scene. So for example, on this page, this is for unit 1. Actually, if you put here, you can scan the 3D model. So basically, for the phase 1, we only do it the 3D models, but we haven't do the animation yet. So I can show another example for unit 3. So for this page, we are actually showing the tree that actually is growing. So we are only putting the 3D models first because we don't have animation yet, because the animation will be on the phase 2. And I will show you another example. This is okay. So on this is for unit 6. So for unit 6, we are showing the examples of the plan, which is the allocation plan. So on this page, on this app also, if you click on this box button, we will show the fakta menarik. Fakta menarik is for the fun fact that for each syllabus. So this is the current development of our app, and for the phase 2, we are going to try to add some animation for the 3D models, and for the phase 3, maybe we will create the interactive quiz with the 3D models. So if you click on the ulang kaji part, maybe we can, if we click on for the phase 3, maybe if we show this ulang kaji, we will give an interactive quiz so that it is more interested for the students. So this is the current phase of our development. I think that's all from us for this project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Kesavan and Daniel. So maybe we'll move on to Anwar.
Sure, let me share my screen first.
So just Anwar, if there's if you can maybe, I don't know how many slides you have, but I'm just if you can, I'm just a little bit mindful of the time because some people have something to do at 2 o'clock. So you know, if you want to highlight the main findings from your project, that would be great if you can directly go there.
Yes, note that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
So can everyone see my screen?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and good day to all of you. My name is Anwar Shafiq, third-year student from Bachelor of Information Technology Multimedia, Faculty of Computer Science, University Malaya. So my final year project title is Augmented Reality Application for health education, which is specifically in heart diseases. So here is the outline of the presentation, but I'll make it short to few important points here. Project overview, maybe problem statement, methodology, and maybe I'll jump to the prototype later. So the project overview, my aim is to develop, educate, and create awareness related with heart diseases through interactive multimedia platform, which based on augmented reality, and the objective is to conduct, gather, and analyze a survey of heart diseases awareness among society and the interest of learning health education interactively and perception of augmented reality technology, and to design and develop an augmented reality application that attract and create awareness and as a reference regarding with heart diseases. So here's the problem statement. As you can see, Heart diseases is #1 killer in Malaysia by National Cardiovascular Database. Lack of general knowledge among youth and unaware of their health condition with increasing number of heart diseases. This is from cigarette smoking and cardiovascular risk factor among male youth by Malaysian Journal of Public Health Medicine. And another problem statement that I found that we are lack of interactive and informative platform in health education in Malaysia. This is from a brief overview of the digital health landscape in Malaysia by the Galen Centre of Health and Society Policy, and by another research by My Health Portal, Malaysia National Web-based Health Information Service for Public Wellbeing by Toby, Siti Marsom, Marslin, and Rahama. Next is the literature review. I'll make it short here. Virtual interactive presence in global surgical education, augmented reality cube for cognitive gaming, the augmented reality for teaching Thai students, and web-based augmented reality for human body. So in this literature review, it is proven that augmented reality can be enhanced more into another level of great invention and education. So here are some examples that how augmented reality has been implemented in the Play Store and the App Store itself. Here's a few examples, which is at Augmented Reality. This is an educational application for medical students, showcasing injuries related to various joint systems in the body. This app supported 3 body parts: knee, shoulder, foot, and ankle, but it is only available in AR function of human anatomy, no additional information. Another example is IKEA Place. As you can see the video that was shared by Dr. Amir just now. IKEA is one of the leading in retail, furniture retail in AR. As you can see, they developed a very good AR apps, which called IKEA Place, a 3D application to virtually place true to scale 3D models in very your own space. One of the great best AR that I found with great UI and UX design, continual latest product highlights. For example, let's say the chair is not available anymore, the design is keep on updated. But then this is not a medical or health educational application. Another one is Luke AR. Here's another example of anatomy of human body related with medical, but this app can be projected indoor or outdoor. And I've tried this app. You can try download it. The skeleton itself will walk towards you. This is really interesting for me. Another one is Inside Heart, a human heart expedition in augmented reality, explorable and fun for students and physicians. One of the best AR apps, can be projected placed anywhere, visually stunning and highly interactive content. But unfortunately, this app you need to purchase, which $1.99 equally to 9 ringgit. As you can see on the right side here, the model is really high definition, and you can see the very detailed view of the heart. You can see the platelet of the blood. Another one is AR Medical. This is like a cube. You can project your phone, and it will show a few human anatomy parts, for example, the heart, the lung. So at the moment, I'm looking for a stakeholder collaboration, and I've tried to approach PPUM, specifically at cardiology department, to collaborate with me for my pilot project, for my FYP. And at the same time, I'm looking for another supervisor to monitor all those information that is going to be shown in my application later, and to be the one who supervises on ethics all those contents. So I'm not going to go through with the methodology, and I'm going to go short with the analysis. I've done a survey about this, and on quantitative approach research, and majority of them agree with the proposed solution and ideas that were given. So on the analysis one, do they view on the posters located at the health clinic or hospital? 44 out of 79 are agree. They will read all this information. We have agree and neutral. Are they attracted with health awareness education poster, which available on public clinic? 38 of them agree. Do they agree about the health awareness? Yes. Do they agree if the health awareness poster embedded with augmented reality technology application? 37 of 79 agree too. And thus, latest technology, for example, augmented reality is attracting more people to interact. 35% of other 79 agree too. So, based on the analysis on content and features, majority of them are happy with the idea. And the most voted response are related with the 3D diagram of heart anatomy. So, this is the requirement. A graphical poster which going to be placed on the clinic itself. At the same time, the patient, maybe they have, while they're waiting for their turn to get into the doctor's room, they can take out their phone, maybe download the apps and project their application to view the heart, 3D model of the heart. And this application can be downloaded from the App Store. They can view the 3D model of the heart and a gallery, for example, educational poster, and information of heart disease education. So here is a prototype design for my application. As you can see, here's the main page. On the left side is the main page of the apps. On the middle screen is the example on how the app is going to be projected, the 3D part. And the right side is the information directory of Heart Treatment Center. So now I'm going to play with my prototype here. So as you can see, this is the prototype of my application. This is the main screen of the app itself. So let's say the user is already downloaded the apps. They can go through to this information. Let's say how to get a healthy lifestyle. This is kind of article post. Each of the apps post will be tagging with blue color. For example, related with the healthy lifestyle will be tagged with blue color. And let's say we go to post related with nutrition, it will tag with the green color. So in these apps, I believe public health education is important. It started from the patient itself. At the same time, they need to have an awareness about their heart. Now, you can go to the main screen. And let's say I've downloaded the app itself, and while waiting for my turn to see doctor, I can launch the apps and project the AR to the poster. Just imagine that this is behind that there is a poster at the clinic, and at the same time you can view the anatomy of the heart. And let's say I want to know more about this heart. What is on the right side? What is on the left side? Let's say I click on the left side. It will zoom in to those heart into more details, and there's kind of details of each part of the heart. Let's say I want to know more. What is inferior vena cava? I only heard about this, but I do not know what this is about. So they will show the more information details about inferior vena cava. So let's go to the right, maybe to the right side of the heart. So this is the heart side. Let's say I want to know more about the septum. What is septum inside of our heart? So it will show the details of the septum itself. In the moment, this is the idea of my FYP project. And I believe that technology in health education is really important because in Malaysia itself, we are lack of technology education related with health. I've done a few research, but I only found a few. For example, even our government, Ministry of Health, do have an application which is called My Health, but the app itself is not that attractive, less intuitive, and there's no much latest information about. There is another one also, technology which is available more into health, which is Doctor On Call, which is developed privately by a few doctors. By mean you can make a video call with your doctor one-to-one and ask them directly. So I believe technology in health education is really important. And in Malaysia, I don't find much health education in technology. At the same time, I do receive a few input from my lecturers. They might be an additional of different type of heart model. For example, this is a normal type of heart model. So I received a few input where they interested to see how the condition of heart with coronary heart disease. Maybe if I'm able to find the real 3D model of how the coronary heart disease patient heart condition, that would be great. Another one input that I received from my lecturers, self-assessment on the side of heart diseases. For example, I've been receiving kind of chest pain on the left side. So maybe I can assess the sign of the heart disease. Is it normal, or is it need to be seek a doctor? I need to see a doctor. So that's another input. And let's say the condition is worrying, they can directly click a button to find the latest, the nearest hospital or treatment center. As you can see, there is a locate button here. So let's say I'm staying in Kuala Lumpur. I would like to find where is the nearest hospital around me. So they are showing a list of hospitals available with heart treatment center. This is an example. So let's say I want to go to Institute Jantung Negara to get more details. What is happening with my heart? I feel left chest pain. So I can just click, and more information about Institute Jantung Negara will be shown. Details about the address and the contact number and the website. I can just click. Let's say I want to go straight away now to the hospital. I don't want to wait anymore. I can just click here, and it will go to the maps, and you can choose whether you want to use Waze or Google Maps to navigate you to the hospitals. And let's say I want to make a phone call first. Whether is it free now for me to go to seek a doctor? I can just click here and straight away make a phone call. So here's an overview of my FYP project. I hope you enjoyed it. And I believe that health education is really important, definitely in public health education. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much to Anwar. So Dr. Amir, back to you if you have any closing remarks.
Again, sorry for the technical problems at the beginning, and then also can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can.
Sorry to everyone for the technical problems. I think that is all the things that we would like to highlight today. And thank you very much to my student for presenting their work, because there are a couple of students doing AR, but in this limited time, I just bring these two, which I think more relevant in your context. So yeah, feel free to drop me an email or everything if you'd like to know further or discuss further about anything or possible things. And sorry again, Dr. Zina, for the the technical problems. Because normally I use Zoom, Meets and stuff like that, Webex and stuff like that. So back to you, and hopefully we can meet again, inshallah. Assalamualaikum. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So I mean, that was really an eye-opener, and it's great to see all the different projects that you're doing, and thank you for giving the opportunity to your final year students as well, to present their work. It's great that, we support the next generation of experts in the field to sort of develop this area for across the board, for everyone who would like to use it. So I think there are some questions from the listeners. So if anyone would like to ask some questions, we can maybe take 2 or 3. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. There were some questions in the chat box, but maybe while we're waiting for others, I have a question. I'm not a computer person at all, but I'm really interested in using this technology for my for teaching purposes, as well as for general presentations. So the software and the apps that you and your students sort of mentioned seem to be quite they require quite a lot of background knowledge into computers. And I was wondering whether or not you can, is there an app that's available which is a little bit more user friendly to people like me who want to try it out? That's my first question. Related to that is the illustrations that you showed. Do we have to draw them ourselves, or is it possible to use existing pictures, which we can then convert into a 3D model? So those are my questions, and then maybe we can. I think that kind of overlaps with, especially in terms of the basic programs and apps that are a little bit more accessible to non-IT people. Tami? Yep.
So regarding your question, to create software to create for non-IT user can straight away use. I think I will pass to my student, but actually somehow these are the software that we have just shown actually are the common ones that we need to use. For example, Unity 3D, and then for modeling you might use Blender or Maya, for example, to model the objects. Somehow there are sometimes models that, with regard to your second question, sometimes there are models, right, from the library that you can import and you can use it straight away. But most of the time we have to, for example, the structures, the body, something like that. There are some library 3D, but sometimes you need some sort of copyright or to buy. But from my experience, normally we have to start from scratch. We have to, for tutorial or something like that. There are many tutorials that you can use in order to model the object, like for example, heart and something like that. But there is things that you need to put more efforts in to have a basic, some sort of background in 3D modeling, for example, to models. And also you need to have some sort of understanding of 3D Unity in order to develop, to connect it into the M, something like that. So somehow you need some sort of background in IT, in some people in IT in order to help you. But of course you can have more point of view in terms of your critical view, because you're the expert in that area, so you knew whether it's wrong or correct. Then you need to inform this developer, in particular the IT specialist, in order apps to refine the models and stuff like that. So in general, I think that you need to have some sort of background in development, technical skills in development. Maybe Kesavan, Anwar would like to say, is there any things that can help non-IT to start their first AR project easily without going into this some basic fundamental knowledge in this Unity and stuff like that?
Maybe I can share a few ideas. Basically, for AR, I wouldn't say that it's too hard or too easy for you to do it. For example, like mentioned by Dr. Amir just now, most of the AR are developed on Unity. Just so you know that Unity is an application for you to develop a lot of things. You can develop an app, you can develop a game, interactive information app through Unity. So most of the time, Unity will be fit for you, for your augmented reality project. As mentioned by Dr. Ami also, most of the time you can start with scratch. Before you start with Unity, you need to design a model of the object. For example, you want to model the heart. You need to design the shape of the heart perfectly. But then there is another a shortcut way for you to do it, by buying it, which available online. By means someone already developed the model of the heart itself, but then you need to buy it online. After you purchase it, then you can import your model of heart into Unity, and then you can present your model of heart inside Unity, and maybe later inside your apps after development. And at the same time, I like the idea from from our comment chat here by which one? Yeah, from Nurjahan Hanim Mat Hashim. She said that we can use this to help explain procedures to patient during consent. I do not know which procedure, but then there is an idea. I got an idea too, where before, let's say, before doctors start surgery to heart disease patient, maybe they can show an AR model of the heart condition itself. Let's see, the doctor is going to cut here and there. So if there's a possibility in future, if there's any AR application which is doctors to explain to the patient, that would be great too in future, inshallah.
Sure. So my son attended a workshop on AR, I think last year, by the Faculty of Education. They use an app called Blippa. And basically it was like, you can draw images, and that seemed to be quite user-friendly, but it was also a little bit difficult to draw. It's a bit tricky to get very refined drawings. And so I was just wondering if there was an app that was similar to that. But he it was able to then create 3D models similar to AR lah. But it seems as if the Unity you do, as you said, you need to have some background and collaborate with someone in IT to be able to develop an app or an a resource for you to use in a course, let's say. Yeah. Okay. Maybe anyone else have any questions? So
Sorry,
there's about yes.
I'd like to ask a question because if I'm not mistaken, Unity and Euphoria charges if you want to post up your projects. So when you mentioned at the bottom there, you said that it's cost effective and cheap. Is it because you are creating it under the university codes, or because it will be you got funding from somewhere, or how does it go? Because when I try to ask for quotations for AR projects, they cost about $500,000.
That's really expensive.
Yeah, that's what I was just wondering. Like, how much does it cost for you to build an AR project, like something like what you have did, Anwar?
At the moment, we as a student, yes, we are using university facility, but I mean, all those applications are licensed by university. Definitely we cannot afford to buy the license. But then, as you mentioned, that developing an application for AR which costs you $500,000, that's so expensive, because previously I do have experience in working in mobile app development company. An application definitely will cost around 10 to 20,000. That will be normal application without implementing of AR. But I do not know what is the current market rate of application. But $500,000 is too expensive, I would say. There'll be a system.
Sorry, Anwar, do you have like a rough estimate of how much your kind of application will cost? The one that you have, you are going to develop, the one with AR and the heart disease one. I
do not. I mean, like I do not know the exact normal market rate for an application. But then, in my experience, definitely a normal application will be cost around 10 to 20,000, up to 25. Depends on the complexity of the apps. But then, if the apps implemented with AR or maybe any enhanced feature, which by mean you need to have a library. For example, IKEA, as you can see, there's a lot of library of each of the chairs model, for example. So they need someone to design the shape of the chair. So it's going to be a long-term development. So they need to keep on updating the design of the chair, the shape of the chair, the color of the chair, and yeah, it's not going to be a one-time development. In mobile app development application, definitely you need someone or maybe a company to keep on maintaining your apps. That is based from my experience in industry lah.
Thank you for your reply, Mr. Anwar.
You're welcome.
Okay, do we have any other questions? So there's a question from in the chat box asking which is better, in your opinion, whether to use AR or VR. Do you have any comments?
I think both are quite interesting to use either AR or VR, because when you talk about VR, it's like more immersive kind of experience where you have 100% all the CGI environments, like with the use of Google Cardboard or HMD. Whereas for the AR, it's like more kind of like overlaying the. It's not like it's you have CGI, but at the same time it like superimposed in the real environment, so you can still aware of your friends or family or all your things around you, and at the same time you have this dinosaur just immerse, or you can even zoom into or interact with that dinosaur, for example. So both are interesting, but to me I have seen the trend is because I think I don't know, AI is like quicker or cheaper, so you just need to have that object models is the more important part, really, not the immersive feelings of the environments where you in VR. So I think there has been trend towards AR, especially for children, for students, stuff like that. I think it's I guess cheaper slightly compared to the VR, but the VR is like more immersive and more expensive to have the environment, everything to models, everything. And somehow sometimes the VR also can have effects, like dizziness or something like that, because you totally like for example you're playing game, imagine you are immersed 100% in the game using the HMD or any Google glasses. So AR more to me
Yes,
is like more friendly
yeah,
for all kind of generation gaps. I mean,
that's right. So maybe some applications could be extended into a VR environment, but most I think would probably people would enjoy it more as an AR.
Yeah, I think for example, because it's fast paced when we talk about VR, especially when we involve lots of action or scene in that VR. But yeah, I think at the end each of them has pro and cons. So but AR more friendly to me for children, for students.
Okay, so there are quite a lot of comments about people appreciating the potential for the use of AR technology in health. So, for example, as Anwar I think mentioned earlier about explaining to the patient, someone mentioned explaining to the patient to get consent, or in clinic waiting rooms, and also in changing a person's behavior, even So I hope that this webinar has kind of opened up your eyes a little bit about what are the other potential things that can be done with AI technology. And if there are no more final questions from anyone. No? Okay. So what I'll do is, if Dr. Amir doesn't mind, I can share his email address in the chat box. Yeah. So you can find him easily. And if you have any follow-up questions, you can get in touch with him. Okay. So with that, I'd like to thank Dr. Amir, Anwar, Saban, and also Daniel for taking their time today to share their projects. They're really interesting projects, and good luck and well done with all of them. And thank you everyone for joining us for this Science Cafe session. Okay, hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.